You know, someone very profoundly once said, many years ago, that if fascism ever comes to America, it'll come in the name of liberalism.
Oh, beautiful, full spacious skies, for amber waves of grain, for purple mountain majesties above the fruited plain. America, America, God shed His grace on thee, and crown thy good with.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of Patriots and Petticoats, it is my pleasure to welcome you aboard Flight 1776 with service to the United States of America and continuing service to a more perfect union. Federal regulations require that carry-on items are stowed prior to closing the aircraft door. Your items may be placed in an overhead compartment or completely under the seat in front of you. Use caution when placing items in or removing them from the overhead compartment, and let us know if we may assist you. In order to expedite the boarding process, please be seated as quickly as possible after stowing your items and take a moment to review the Constitution and Declaration of Independence located on the device in your pocket. If you are unable or unwilling to perform the functions as described on those documents, please let us know and we will find a more suitable destination for you. Thank you for joining us, and we look forward to spending our evening with you. Good Sunday evening, everybody. It is Chris, Eric, Heather from Patriots and Petticoats coming to you on this fabulous, nasty weekend on my end of the country. I don't know about you guys.
Gorgeous.
We had tornadoes running through town today. There's trees all over the road. It's really bad here. So, but I hope it's better where you guys are. With that being said, I wanted to start the show off a little bit different this evening. Not really a monologue, but at least a discussion amongst the two of us, or the three of us, me with the two of you. So you're seeing a lot of uptick in shootings, right? Mass shootings. Is it because it's being reported more frequently, or is it because it's happening more frequently? I don't know how to determine that personally. But with that being said, I know that the immediate gut reaction as soon as it happens is we must take the guns away from law-abiding citizens, as if the crimes that these people committed in the first place were not already illegal, minus the tool with which they used. It feels like a lot of people have forgotten that freedom is inherently a dangerous concept. America being the land of the free and the home of the brave, it's a concept that each generation has to learn and earn. And so I feel like we've gotten to the point where that's just something cute that's said because of tradition. And like it's dangerous freedom, right? Like there are dangers that come along with that. And if you just give them up, then you become nothing but a communist country. How do you think that happened? How do you think that people forgot the responsibility that comes with the rights that we have?
I think we had it so good, through the late 80s and the 90s. We crushed it so hard that it created some really, there was the little bit of conflict in the desert. And growing up, we didn't have, I didn't turn on the TV and see this. Maybe it's the fact that we're all ultra connected now and everybody gets their views out and some people are amplified. I'm not sure. I think maybe it's lack of experience. Times are just easier.
When things happened in the past, let's say a shooting happened, the immediate gut reaction wasn't, let's take the guns away from everyone else. The reaction was, you're a horrible fucking human being for killing people.
Well, first off, this whole deal has been a frog in the pot since the 50s
Yeah.
and 60s, right? So we in the 80s, the generation that Eric's talking about, our generation, my generation, I'm an 80s, 90s kid. Uh, we still we were still connected as masses, enough, but there was this wedge being driven in that started with, I mean, I don't want to be a dick, but like the whole women's right, like there was a lot of stuff going on there. All right. And it really started with like women's rights. And I have a whole thought process of that, of the welfare state, how they ripped the African American family apart. And then the only way to start with the Caucasian woman was the feminist movement and to start and bring the mom out of the house. You're not going to take them. You weren't going to break the mom and dad up yet because we were still ingrained in church and values and morals. And they pulled the mom out of the house is what they did. And then the divorce rates, because prior, I don't know this if I'm right about this exactly, Heather, but it is a huge number in the, I don't know what they call it anymore, the nuclear family, man, wife, 2 kids, picket fence, dog, from whenever we implemented welfare before and after. Like it's big.
Mm-hmm.
It's big. It's
Yeah.
big enough to where I think a logical human can look at that and say, this might be our problem.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So anyways, as I'm going forward, the frog in the pot, I'm sorry. So that started the motion to get us where we're at today. Now the mental health and mental illness is just run rampant. We sure use that term really. We use it for fucking everything. These motherfuckers are feral because they weren't raised, because our kids are fucking feral when they come out. And if you don't socialize them and civilize them, then they're still feral. That's not a fucking switch that happens at 18. It's ridiculous.
Yeah, it's like nature versus nurture, and they didn't get the nurture part.
And government isn't going to fix this. There's no amount of tax money. There's no amount of labor they can steal. There's no amount of laws we can pass to fix that. That is a moral, spiritual problem. That's a nature problem.
It's like the nurture wasn't there, and they weren't allowed to go out and experience the consequences of nature. So they got
These kids are
nothing.
fucking feral.
They are.
And also, let me tell you, I don't know this for sure, but if you take all the self-worth out of a man, I mean, all that's left is a criminal. There's nothing else left. What's
and
left?
It's just
And if you
aggression
take
with
the
nowhere to
self-worth
go.
out of a female, you just have prostitutes. Like you have
What else is there?
OnlyFans. You have, let me show, only feet. I found out there's one for your fucking feet. No joke. I'm not fucking bullshitting you.
So this really is this is a moral dilemma here. And
OnlyFans is destroying us.
Democrats have really become big government. It's really, the swap is just like it was back in like the 50s, 60s. That switch is we're making another switch. Can we just, as the ship's turning, can we just kind of kick it over both sides and let it splash and let's just do our own thing in the middle?
Yeah.
Chris, you make a really good point when you're talking about taking the people out of the home, but that with the nature versus nurture conversation, it's really interesting because now nobody wants to take accountability for that. Nobody wants to make any change to that. Nobody wants to take responsibility for that. What they want to do now is say, okay, daddy government, I fucked it up. Now we need you to fix the problem. And
if not that, I need someone to point to and blame if it goes wrong.
Right. Yeah, no personal accountability. No societal accountability.
If you can't fix it, at least give me someone to blame.
Yeah.
All of our elected officials are constantly in re-elect mode. So we're just getting hit pieces for our next commercial. So that's where we're at there. So they have failed us. And so now what you're seeing is feral motherfuckers acting feral and citizens now starting to stand up for themselves, right? Because I'm a big believer. It's not that I'm a believer. It's just that the facts in any nature, any living, breathing creature is going to pretty much protect itself. And that goes for the American citizenry as well. If you keep us safe, then we will stay in our lanes, and we're docile, and we are very compassionate citizenry. But when you stop making us safe, we will then make ourselves safe. And we are not going to follow your fucking laws. We're just going to make ourselves safe. That's it. How we see it fit.
Yeah.
I
And there's
wonder.
nothing, sorry, one more. There's nothing anybody can do to stop that. You're either going to make us safe or we're going to make us safe. And you're not going to stop it. There's no amount of laws you're going to pass. There's no amount of motherfuckers that you can come get our guns. It's just not going to happen.
Eric, what were you about to say?
I wonder what percentage of criminals who commit these violent acts with guns purchase the gun at the store. Like the person who committed the crime bought the gun at the store. Like if you make it impossible for, you or I to buy a gun, then these other people who are criminals have the avenue to get guns illegally. I don't. Right? So
I have a
you're
okay,
shutting
go ahead,
off
I'm sorry.
my supply, but not theirs. I don't think these people, I think that's what some of the left thinks, because a lot of these mass shooters do own these guns legally, which is frightening, and it speaks to the mental illness situation. But I don't think most shootings are committed with guns that they went to the store and bought. I think they're stealing them and they're getting them by other means.
Yeah, so I don't know if you caught my morning show on, I want to say it was Friday, maybe. The really interesting thing is New York just had a big gun buyback, and they were able to collect 3,000 firearms that were turned in from citizens. And I made the argument, like, how many criminals that obtained their weapons illegally, how many of them do you think walked up to the table of the police officer and said, "Here, Mr. Officer, here's my gun for a $500 gift card"? I would wager none of them.
No.
They did not go up to the police table to hand their guns in. So the law-abiding citizen who used to hunt but doesn't have time anymore, inherited a bunch of firearms from their uncle who passed away, maybe had some but don't feel comfortable because now they've had kids. Like, law-abiding citizens
Yeah.
went and turned their firearms in. So what's going to be left is the state and criminals. That's who's gonna have guns when it's all said and done, if this keeps happening. And in that speech, like with the collection of the guns, they made this, it was really, really cute how they tried to like blend the two together, like to try to like conflate the guns that were turned in the buyback versus the ones that are confiscated.
Yeah.
90% of the guns that are confiscated after a crime has been committed, 90% of those came from out of state. So they were obtained illegally. And so that's the point, right? Like, these people are going to go ahead and get firearms. And if nobody sees that from this, I don't know what, it's fucking insane to me. Blows my mind.
It's
I'm
like
gonna go
fighting the
through-
war on drugs. These things, if you take care of a weapon, it will last your lifetime and your child's lifetime.
Yep. Real quick, Jake says hi. Patriot Girl says evening all. Joey says new Sunday routine. Church in the morning, Patriots and Petticoats in the evening. We love
it.
you guys. Thank you. Jake says it's the removal of any type of moral code, be it religion or just a traditional set of values. It's all looked down on now. Then, if there's no value system, then anything goes. That's correct.
We need a moral compass.
Yes. Patriot Girl Prepper says never give up your guns.
Ever. Not even if there's a fire.
Uncle David said, I'd be willing to bet most of those guns turned in at a buyback event are useless or inoperable. Probably right.
I've seen articles where they bought toy guns too before. Or who was the guy who 3D printed a bunch of parts?
Yeah, I had him on my show.
He made a shitload of money.
Yeah, he took them for
You did?
cash. Oh yeah, he was on my podcast.
That's awesome.
That's
You'll have
awesome.
to go listen to that episode.
Yes.
Jake said
Yeah,
prohibition
exactly.
worked for alcohol and drugs, right? Oh yeah, so well. um,
So it's a we're at a crossroad there. There's no give on either side. That's where we're at on this, and that's probably where we're always going to be, because we have a constitution and they have to get 3/4 of the states to ratify that if they wanted to change that amendment. Something crazy like that. It's not happening.
No.
yeah, and so I keep trying to understand, like, why is the instinct to pretend that there aren't consequences for the rights that we have? Like, it's like they want to just pretend they don't exist.
Yeah, so that goes back to what Eric said. And that is, we have been on cruise control for a minute, and none of these kids have ever felt any kind of anything. So all they felt is their Cadillac problems.
Right.
So that's where we're at. But that's okay. It's going to take care of itself, because it's going to get hard. And they may pass some laws that piss some people off, and there may be some bullets fired. I don't know that. There may be a national divorce. I mean, the temperature's hot, things are wrong. I have to assume this is what people might have been feeling like back in the 1800s, 1864, 1861, 1859, around in there.
Around in there.
Yeah.
Set up.
Around the, we don't want you to have slaves, and the, no, we're going to have slaves. And there was a crossroads there.
You're at a real impasse.
People think that a lot of us are just fucking around with our, like, we're just being hard headed. No, we believe this down to our fucking core, and it's not changing.
Yeah.
I keep them everywhere.
There's people living in a false reality, like a
I
demolition.
keep my
Man
favorite
type
Benelli right
situation.
here.
You know, it's just not realistic to think that the state's going to take care of you.
And it's not realistic, and that's where a national divorce would come in, right? And I don't even know how that would look. I have no idea. I wish we could get somebody on that's not that really understands a national divorce.
So
Who gets Yellowstone? I want Yellowstone.
the show.
No, the territory when we divorce.
Oh, I was like, that's a weird request. You want the show?
I also want the rights to Yellowstone if only one of us gets that. Yeah.
Okay. So let's go back. You mentioned mental health. Like, that's its own entity in itself. I have been like kind of like toiling over this thought process, because it's a contributing factor to a multitude of issues that we have as a country. Right? We've talked about some of the drugs that are being prescribed. We've talked about the fact that some of the treatments that are being pushed are not good for people. We've talked about, oh God, we've talked about so much, but we haven't really discussed, certainly not between the three of us, a solution. What would the solution be to help the mental health situation in this country? Because I have a feeling, as AI starts taking more jobs, as the banking situation continues to rock the world, like, as these things go, the mental health situation is not going to improve on its own. So
AI could help fix the mental health situation. I read an article that 89% of patients preferred interacting with the AI as opposed to the actual doctor when they were doing an online visit. I wonder if you could just have a zillion robots helping all the crazy people, because they know just what to
this
say.
depends. This depends. So are we talking about an AI robot? Do they like them better because it's easier to make it subscribe me drugs? Because a live human is looking at you going, "You're lying, bitch." Or what one thing I want to say about the mental health deal, though, is however we do it, and the criminal issue for the next 5 years, it's not going to be pretty. So everybody just take a breath and know this is going to look bad, because we've let it go so far now that it's going to be a little bit like we're going to have to lock some motherfuckers up. we're gonna have to fucking put some people in mental institutes, even though you don't want to.
I mean,
We're gonna
what?
have to be like, you're either gonna get a home or we're gonna put you in a home. And unfortunately, that's just where we let it go. We let it just get here.
There
What?
are no long-term institutes to put people in, though.
No.
What do you mean?
Like if there is a long-term mental health patient, those institutions were closed. They are no longer open.
Yeah. We just have to. We're gonna have to. I mean, we're gonna have to open some back up. There's just no way around it.
You're gonna have
You're
to
gonna
find
have
a.
to
You're gonna have to find a softer word than asylum.
I don't give a fuck. We're gonna, and what we are gonna have to do is take a real. I wish we could get somebody in there, and because we pay enough taxes to make this happen, to fix this, we
Chris,
do.
we have to send that money
No.
to Ukraine.
No. But real quick for tonight, we're just gonna be real. So tonight we're gonna be real. We do have enough money. How do we fix this, Heather?
You can't just make a list of drugs and say these people can't have guns if you're on these. I mean, you can't really make a list of conditions. Anything you do will cause people to not report symptoms or seek treatment. So I don't know how you target a specific high-risk group in the mental illness, I don't know, category. I don't want to say community category.
Well, and I'm not even
say-
speaking directly towards just the guns issue.
Say that again.
I'm not even speaking just to the gun issue.
No,
I'm speaking in
no,
general,
to the mental health.
just-
Like we have an issue out there. There's an issue out there in the
Oh,
public,
yeah.
yeah.
and we got to fix that issue. There's one way to fix that. It's going to look very brutal. It's going to look like Rudy Giuliani had to do back in the day. The knock on the what was it? The I forget what he called it. The open window or
Stop and
whatever.
frisk.
Yeah, all that. Like we're gonna have to just get down and just lock a bunch of motherfuckers up that we had already locked up and then got let out. We're gonna have to go put them back in.
Well, I also think that, like, going back to the original conversation, right? Nature versus nurture. A lot of these people didn't have the nurture aspect, didn't have the mother in the home, didn't have a father in the home. And so they're in a position now where they weren't even taught coping mechanisms. I posted a video last week of this man and his son that were fishing. Did either one of you happen to see that video? So this man took his
Maybe.
son fishing on a boat, and he had just cast it into the water and he pulled a line. Like he caught the fish immediately. And I mean, it was huge. And you could tell his rod was bent, and his dad's like, get your rod up, just reel, son, you know, and very calmly worked through that whole process and never helped his son until his son asked for it specifically. Dad, can you help me? Not just, oh, I'm not going to do it. You know, like none of that. Only when he asked, will you help me, did his father step in, and all he did was hold the rod up for him. He made him reel that fish all the way into the boat. And I know this is like anecdotal, but that entire situation was very calmly handled. And you could watch that father. Not only did he let his son struggle, he gave him the opportunity to actually succeed. He got the chance to actually pull that in. And I think that now we're in a situation where a lot of these people weren't ever given the opportunity to struggle and succeed.
Yeah.
They were given the opportunity to struggle, and they never learned what to do with failure.
Right.
And so I think instead of having a mental health system that currently looks at mental health as affirmation and medication, and I'm not even just speaking towards transgender stuff, just in general. Oh, I'm so sorry you feel that way. Here's some pills.
You know what we're doing? We're cracking the egg and opening it up for them. We're not making the little chicks
Right.
break out of the egg themselves. They're not
Yep.
building up that strength that they need to half-ass
Like, why
fly.
wouldn't like a treatment be, I want you to go out today, right now. I'm going to go with you, and you're going to do something that makes you uncomfortable. Out in the wild. and start having mental health professionals genuinely engaged in the treatment of the people that they're working with.
Or how about you just wake up and go do something for somebody else? So the first thought in your head isn't your fucking self. Go fucking do something for
That's a
somebody
big
else.
part of it.
Yeah. A very
Yep.
self-seeking society. Absolutely.
Boy, we have done that, and there's a frog in water, and now it's boiling, and we're like, fuck.
Yep, it's bad. You're
Boy,
right.
am I still echoing pretty bad?
Yeah.
These kids
Something's
are in their
wrong.
I don't know what's
these
causing
kids who we
it. It's
failed
almost-
are in their 20s now.
There's a delay on it too.
I automatically adjusted my mic volume.
Is that better?
Yes.
There we go. I was like, something is wrong here.
Oh, weird.
Yep. No, you're great now.
Is it echoing
Both
now?
boxes.
Nope.
Okay. Yeah.
Not even
Now
a
we're
little
good.
bit. Sorry, guys.
No, I was
The
like
joys
hearing
of running
myself
live
like,
streams.
Jesus.
Okay, so if you guys don't mind, real quick, I'm gonna go through some of these chats real fast. We've got quite a few
Do
of
it.
them sitting out here.
I have to use the restroom. I'll be right back.
Okay. Jake says study bleeding Kansas, then compare that to what's happening today. Ooh, that would be good. Jake, I'll look into that. Uncle David says, I was thinking the show, take him to the train station. Joey said Montana and
Yep.
Wyoming probably coming with the red states. Yeah, I would say
Good.
you're probably
That's
right.
where I'm
Idaho
headed.
too. We'll probably snag that one. 14 days, I think, is the longest you can get an involuntary hold. That's correct. And then
It's not gonna
real
prevent much.
therapy sucks and it's hard work that nobody is
Yeah.
willing to put in.
You have to want to do it.
Yeah. Which is why involuntary holds don't work, because the person's not committed to the treatment that they're in there for.
Yep. Sometimes
Ah.
they come around, but not
Right.
a high percentage.
People don't want the discomfort. They just want to pay to have someone to bitch to.
I think that's the American idea of what therapy is.
Right. Yeah. It's not supposed to be work. You're just supposed to listen to my problems and tell me how to fix them.
Exactly. I'm not going to sit here like buy a notebook and write shit down about myself. I just need to tell you the person in the cubicle across from me is the cause of all my problems.
Oh, that's great. Real fast. So, gosh. Will from Game On over on the Rumble chat said, friendly reminder, taxation is theft. Make sure to like and subscribe. Thank you, Will. We love you. So many people want to look at the lives lost from guns, but never want to acknowledge the lives saved from guns. So true. 100%. I apologize. It took me a minute to get over there, Will. I forgot to pull Rumble up. This whole like producer thing while you're active on the show, I have mad respect for Chris doing this all the time for Patriots Sports and other places and whatever. Like I'm just like looking over here for notes, looking over here to make sure this stream is running. I'm a disaster. So.
I can't even remember to check both boxes when I do my audio settings. So
Joey says it is. I'll tell you guys though, CBT and EMDR together saved my life. Took almost 1.5 years with my therapist though. I don't know what either one of those letters stands for. Are those
cognitive
drugs?
brain therapy, electromagnetic.
Were you doing shock therapy, Joey? Doing the rest of the work to heal the spirit every day, though. That's the other thing, too. And I know we've talked about this on here, but, and I don't want to seem like I'm beating a dead horse, but I feel like genuine, like, faith and religion, and even if you still question it, even if you're still struggling with it, just show up. Go and develop community and
take the action.
Yeah, like just actually step through that gate and step through that door and sit down and listen. Just for a minute. Stop
Show
talking.
up early, stay late, and shake hands. Don't listen to her. Show up early, stay late, shake hands. Drink coffee. Have conversation.
Yep.
Ask somebody else how they're doing. How's your life? You might figure out yours isn't so bad.
Yeah, I think it's funny. My mom is having. Not gonna tell that story right now.
Okay.
Um, Joey said cognitive behavioral therapy. You were right on that one, Eric. Eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. That's interesting. 2 modes of trauma therapy that work if you commit to it. I've never heard of that one before.
Nice. Shout out to him.
Yeah.
It's like doing the work.
Listen, if you ever want to feel bad about yourself, just be friends with Joey because he will highlight in every way possible how wonderful a human being he is and how much you actually suck. Not really. He's a really good person though. I
was like,
highly
what just happened?
do
In
what?
the nicest way
I
possible.
was like, what just happened?
Okay, so a couple things that I had on the list for us to kind of talk about today. I do want to at least talk about this because Eric, you posted the Secretary of the Navy letter in our Discord chat.
Yeah.
So I think they weren't expecting it to come out. I don't know why you would do a program like this and think that other people are not going to hear about it or discover it, like that they're not going to know. Jake's laughing at me.
Hey, really quick, Heather, before shout out to Will over on Rumble and everybody that's watching over on Rumble. Will gave us a $20 Rumble rant. And he says, so many people want to look at the lives lost from the guns, but never want to acknowledge the lives saved from guns.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, thank you so much for that. And Joey said, stop. No, I'm first among sinners.
Yeah, those people, they always say that. The overachievers. They're like, oh no. Then they self-deprecate. You're like, come on.
Yes. So this letter, it says, Dear Secretary Del Toro, we write regarding the Navy's Digital Ambassador pilot program and reports that the Navy enlisted a TikTok drag queen to help reach potential recruits on social media. While we understand the importance of social media for modern recruiting, we are concerned about both the promotion of a banned app and behavior that many deem inappropriate in a professional workplace. As you know, Congress passed the No TikTok on Government Devices Act, blah, 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 blah. Okay, so, and then it said,
a lot of them already weren't having TikTok voluntarily on their devices.
Do what?
A lot of them were already taking it off their devices voluntarily.
Oh, yeah.
That's how I knew it was probably something sketchy.
And then it said, we understand the need to reach broadly across the eligible population to improve recruiting outcomes, but we question promotion of social media influencers who post behaviors or activities many Americans deem inappropriate. The Navy noted in its 2019 social media handbook that it's often hard to distinguish between the personal and the professional on the internet. So sailors should assume any content they post may affect their personal careers and the reputation of the Navy more broadly. This begs the question whether the Navy endorses the personal posts of its influencers and ambassadors. If so, does the Navy endorse drag shows? Where does the Navy draw the line on promotion of the personal activities of its influencers? And would the Navy enlist burlesque or exotic dancers to reach possible recruits? Such activity is not appropriate for promotion in a professional workplace or the United States military. So, I mean, like, first of all, it's the Navy. So talk about fitting the stereotype here. Sorry to all my Navy guys. Oh, my Uncle David, being a Navy veteran, that situation is very disturbing and insulting. I love you, Uncle David. I'm just kidding. And then Navy and drag queens didn't see that coming. Yep. The jokes are all there. The memes are great.
Yep.
The situation's serious.
Yes.
So.
Yes. It's the Marines that use the strippers. Is there a Navy stereotype? Oh gosh. Nope. Not
Nope.
at all.
Not that I'm aware of.
So real quick,
Maybe.
I do want to talk about this for just a second because similar to the Bud Light campaign, similar to now we're talking about military individuals, and this was supposed to be a reach out from a recruiting perspective. So
Mhm.
who were you recruiting? Were you recruiting entertainment and influencers, or were you recruiting sailors?
Yo, they've got some bad information. Some people up in the very top echelon of CEOs in our government live in some kind of weird fucking bubble, and they've gotten bad information.
Yep. This shit don't fly on the shop floor.
This isn't yeah, we're not playing make believe in your fucking sandboxes.
Well, and this was a test campaign, right? So how many recruits came in and said, I saw the drag queen, I'm signing up.
Holy
because of
shit,
it."
let me in.
Yeah.
I was on
And
the
how
fence
many-
until
How many
RuPaul.
dads were down at the recruiting? Hey, I didn't know y'all were into drag queens. I'm gonna bring my son up here.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here.
I don't. Here's the part where I think like I got a little bit. I don't give a shit if you're a drag queen and you're in the Navy. Like that's fine. Whatever. However, again, adults, however you want to spend your life. However, he was in uniform and then switched to drag, right?
Mm.
And he did it on Navy property.
With
So-
our tax money.
Right. So I have a problem. You're not supposed to be, I think that I can't remember how the UCMJ words it, but you're not supposed to be sexual in uniform. And so the question I think becomes, are you, as a drag queen, are you being sexual? Is that a sexual imagery or not? And we shouldn't be upset about that. I'm really curious. Hey, Aaron, hold on. I'm going to go through these real quick. So Uncle David says, yes, very serious. Joey says, who's the Navy trying to attract here? Navy has always been pretty homo. Jake said, isn't their motto, it's not gay if you're underway? Aaron says, recruit gay sailors. We are not critical of other types of recruitment. Why this one? So I want to push back on this. I'm incredibly critical of multiple types of recruitment, especially, hey, we'll pay for your college education if you'll come here and be a part of the military, or going into high schools and pushing kids to join, especially moving into the
Can I,
go ahead.
can I just say something really quick?
Yeah.
So our United States military is not supposed, we shouldn't be pushing and celebrating an individual identity, okay? Because this is a team fucking sport. War is a team sport. And I feel like sometimes we get the military convoluted with like some kind of weird, just I work for the gut. That is there to protect us. They are supposed to go to war when called on. And the whole DEI and setting individuals apart in the military is everything that it's not. Like the whole point of boot camp is stripping your fucking individualism away and building you up into a team, into a cohesive killing machine. You are there to kill. That's what the fuck you're there to do.
Yeah.
That's why people are scared of you. And that's why America has been who it's been since World War II.
We've always projected from a position of power. And we're not
There's
anymore.
no power in an individual. There's only power
in the
a
collective.
group,
Exactly.
all moving in one direction. And that's to fucking destroy the fucking enemy. No holds barred, no quarter given.
Aaron said, "Is drag automatic sexual?"
Yeah, that's
Is
a
the
fu-
question that I asked.
Is it a
Is
kink?
that
That's a kink.
How is it different than burlesque? Burlesque is always sexual.
Is it transvestites? Is that men that dress up like women? It's a sexual kink, and then you have gender dysphoria, right? These are the two things, and then we've collaborated them to create transgenderism. But in real life, it's transvestites, the sexual kink, right? Am I wrong? And gender dysphoria, which is a mental illness.
yes?
Either way, this one's not cool. Like, we're not doing this in the military in uniform, and this is a mental illness. Guess you'd have to
Okay.
work that out with MEPS. Am I wrong about that, Heather?
No,
Is that
you're right. You're.
If we just
I
get out
have-
of the sandbox and we just get right down to brass tacks.
Yeah, it's interesting you brought up MEPS. Like, if you disclosed that you had gender dysphoria in the MEPS processing, I think that you would be disqualified. Maybe there's a waiver for that. There's a waiver for fucking everything, but
I got 5 waivers for different tattoos.
team sport, exactly. Patriot Girl Pepper says military needs to go back to don't ask, don't tell. I agree with that.
Yes.
Let's not talk about sex. The military
go
should not
fucking
be
kill the
about
enemy.
sex. 100%. Aaron
Why-
said,
yeah.
doesn't recruitment work better if it individually targets people? Nope.
Nope.
I don't think so. I don't think that you,
Patriotism as a collective works well.
Aaron, if that's the case, like, we would be in a position right now where our recruiting numbers would be off the hook with a certain class of individuals, and it's
Yeah.
not. Our recruiting is down significantly from a militaristic perspective. Aaron says,
That's
I think drag can be
patriotism.
sexual, but not 100%. So I don't necessarily disagree with you. It can be performative, right? It could be like theatrical and not sexual. It's possible. My question to you, Aaron.
No. Okay. Yeah, I'll listen. Let's listen to the question.
My question to you, Aaron, is can you give me an example? Because I've been to quite a few drag shows. Can you give me an example of where, Chris, I see your face right now. I'm talking about the Globe Theater, since the 13th century, produces all of their shows with men, including the female parts. So that's what I mean by theatrical. They're dressing as women, but they are all men. The entire cast is men. So that's what I meant by drag could not be sexual, because it's a Shakespearean play at the Globe Theater in London. So I would like Aaron to say, okay, he said like Medea and Mrs. Doubtfire, where actors are dressing in drag, but it's not sexual. Same concept. So we're on the same page with
Okay.
that.
Yeah.
But that's not how we're recruiting fucking Navy recruits, for fucking Christ's sakes. If so, you'd have a fucking TikTok of a Navy dude and then he's a softball player. Navy dude and then he's a plumber. A Navy dude and get the fuck out of here with that. This is some kind of other bullshit direction that we're fucking pushing our fucking citizenry in, and we are not wanting to go there. Sorry. Was that too much?
No, you're fine. I don't disagree with you. I understood what Aaron was saying was that not all drag is 100% sexual, which is
But why are
why
we involving it with the Navy?
I'm not. That's why I asked him, in this context, could you provide? So he says, I think this recruitment was targeting gays, maybe. And that may be the case. Maybe they were specifically targeting homosexuals or other members of drag.
Are they like looking at the numbers out of California? 42% of 13 to 17 are saying they're LGBTQI, and they're like,
know
look, we
what,
better got to
Chris?
get ahead of
Very
this fucking
possible.
curve, because that's 40% of the fucking our recruits coming in, and we can't be outside of that bubble. I don't know.
Well, and I mean, a bunch
Maybe
of our
boot camp is
Navy,
what maybe boot camp is what everybody needs.
a bunch of our Navy is out of California. So that's possible, right? Like, I think that there is an opportunity to look at this somewhat objectively. It's a passionate subject. Don't get me wrong. Like, I think that's the wrong way to recruit. We need to go find the fucking hard hitters that are willing to go fucking get killed. Like, and I don't see a man who just flips into drag as the person that I'm going to stand behind in the stack that's going to protect me. Like it's not the person I'm looking for, but
We don't know that though. That dude might be hard. You can't ever judge a book by its cover, but I mean, I see what you're saying.
Uncle David said
I just
Heather's
don't know why
dad-
they did that switch
Yeah.
in that TikTok video. It's dumb. All it was going to do was cause divisiveness amongst the citizenry. It was a bad
Controversy.
judgment. That's what I'm saying. Somebody's living in a fucking bubble up there.
My Uncle David said Heather's dad was part of a team to get their assignments done. I was part of 5 ships and 2 shore commands, and it took all of us doing each of our parts to complete those missions.
Yeah.
I think the importance of teamwork has been lost in our
Yeah.
society too, with all
Yeah.
these kids at home playing Fortnite.
Listen, there's no way to keep the citizenry that fucking chopped up unless you individualize us. Once you individualize us and then you just pill us red or blue, red or blue, red or blue, that's what is happening here.
Joey says drag is invariably sexual. Assuming I'm the only homosexual male in the chat, if the rest of y'all were attractive straight men at a drag show, they'd make a litany of sexual comments to you endlessly.
What does that mean?
Well, I do like to be complimented.
Aaron said, like how some recruitment offers tuition reimbursement for lower income families.
Yeah.
I'm going to push back on that though, real quick, Aaron. They didn't offer tuition reimbursement for lower income families. They offered them to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
If
More
this
attractive
is in
to a
fact
lower
what
income
you're
family.
saying, if this was a recruitment specifically targeting gays, that's completely different. You're only looking for a certain individual to join the military.
Mm-hmm.
Targeted ads for specific people. But not everyone in the army are killers, ? I think 75% of people in the army don't go to combat. They're all trained to be killers.
Yeah, but you better be able to.
Yeah.
That's the deal.
Because sometimes those paper pushing positions don't always stay in the paper pushing spot. They get called up. World War II rings a bell. Like there were
World
people
War
who had certain MOSs that were placed in combat roles that were not necessarily supposed to be there. You are trained to be a killer. That's what
you
you're
take
in
the same
military
fucking oath.
for.
You take
Yeah.
the same fucking oath. Whether
Yeah.
you push paper, you hit the front line. You're down.
Aaron, I've enjoyed having you in here. This
I don't know who Aaron is.
back and forth. I don't know who it is either, but it's been nice having you in here.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
the back and
I
forth
like
for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay.
So in order to fix the recruiting, it's going to take a societal shift back to patriotism. That's how that's going to work. And it's not going to be this president.
Right. And so I think and not just and true patriotism, right? Like
Yeah.
where you're
Mhm.
fighting for your
Mhm.
country,
Mhm.
Yeah.
for your
For
countrymen.
your constitution and
Yeah.
your citizenry, because
Yeah.
you care. That's going to be
So
hard
do
to
you
get back
think
to.
that because we've been involving ourselves, because there hasn't been any
Because our
sort of
government's fucking corrupt and COVID just fucked it even worse.
do you think that because there has been so much of external conflict, so Libya, Iraq, Afghanistan, Ukraine, China, Taiwan, Russia, all of the places, Iran, Saudi Arabia, Israel, Palestine, all of the conflict has been off of our shore,
Mhm.
right? So
Yes.
those places have vested interest, right? Whereas we're going over and here at home, it's like, God, why are we just putting our hands in all of the fucking pies? Why can we not just worry about our own shit? Do you think that that is part of what has created the decline in patriotism? Because we haven't had to really fight for what's ours.
Nope.
To
Yeah,
really
there's a few things. You're
We're
absolutely
the
right,
trust
Heather.
fund kids. We inherited this country with a booming economy, and we just kind of partied.
Yeah, and now we're celebrating individualism, which is the opposite of celebrating a citizenry, right?
Yeah.
It's all divided, and America's bad, and It has to come from the top. It has to come from everybody, both parties from the top, that America's and our Constitution is worth it. That this idea is worth it.
Yep.
That you can't just come into this country. You have to earn your way into this country. We all earn our way here. Not this fucking socialist, fucking open border, fucking shit stain that it is today. Who's going to sign up to fight for this? You're fighting for your day. You're just fighting to get to work on the subway.
You're fighting for taxation without representation.
He's screaming at all the fucking maggots, fucking MAGA extremists. Guess who is down south? People that voted for Trump. And guess where your recruiting numbers come from? Down south.
Yeah.
That hurts you, Biden.
Yeah.
When you cut off half the country, that's half the country that still believes in the fucking patriotism and still shows up to the recruiting place and signs up to go to war. And you're shitting on them. Nobody's gonna want to fight for you. For what? That you fucking you're fucking decrepit bag of oatmeal, like just fucking withering away. Fucking shit.
He is gross.
So not to be traditional Heather, but I'm going to. Do you think that if we had like an actual event, like a 9/11 type event, because we saw a massive recruitment opportunity there, do you think if we had an event here in the United States now that people would be like, oh God, I should have done this a long time ago. I'm in. I'm going to defend our country. Do you think that
5 years ago, not today.
But you don't think we'd see it now?
COVID broke this fucking country.
Yep.
The government blatantly fucking lied to us over and over, and now is trying to cover that lie up and acting like it didn't happen instead of coming out and owning it. Like every day that goes by and they don't come out and say, we apologize and we're going to step down and here's our plan moving forward for our country, because our country's bigger than our individual. We're fucked, you guys.
Yep.
There's no way out of this until there's some accountability held. That is it. That is fucking watering our trees with the blood of these fucking tyrants. There's no way else out of this.
So I have another question that I'm gonna get personal here. Chris, would you tell your son to join the military if something bad were to happen here?
What do you mean? Something bad to happen?
Like, would you tell him, hey, son, I think that it would be a good idea. I think you need to go defend your country, because he's of the age and the ability to do so.
Like if Uzbekistan blew up a port or something.
Yeah. China detonated an EMP over
So
Texas.
I would have to figure out if he is best served here to defend this country that we're about to take, because these motherfuckers have gone crazy, or if it's better to join the bootlickers, because by then it might be a bunch of it's already a bunch of fucking bootlickers. But so that's going to be an assessment that we'll have to make as a family, you know?
Yeah.
I remember at 9/11, like this is a small town. Everybody got together in a common area in town, and we had a candlelight vigil, and it did not matter where anybody stood on the political spectrum. I don't think it would be like that this time. I think one side would be blaming someone and the other side would be blaming someone else. And they have
successfully fucked us.
So you don't think that we get that unification that we had on September 12th? Like we never unite as a country again around a cause?
We're so divided, it would be hard to attack us as a whole.
Because we'd have to trust what the top is telling us just happened.
Right.
And that is just impossible right now until there's there has to be some accountability held. There has to be.
Do you think that they have the opportunity or that they are able to earn your trust back?
Yep.
Yeah. Just tell the truth.
We're docile, compassionate citizenry.
Just say things that are true.
Right thing. Biden has to come out and say, listen, I lied.
You can even say you thought it was for the best.
Admission.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Just like he said when he fucking got elected. The buck stops with me.
Tell us you thought you were keeping us safe, whatever you got to say, but just say true things from now on. That's all.
Your fucking press secretary is just a fucking
dude.
puking lies out of her mouth that
She
she knows
really-
are lies. Like like, have you watched some of the YouTube videos?
Her
of
whole
these
job is
fucking-
to make you
of
angry.
these like actual like interrogators breaking
She's
her
really
press
good at
conference
it.
downs? Like her tells are sick.
Yep. Like my 2 truths and a lie tells.
Too easy. Next.
I am gonna go to some of these chats real quick because they're getting out of control and
yeah.
I'm far off.
And I'm with Patriot Girl. That she's got a head on her shoulders. She lives in reality.
That's
It's a good
MB.
place to
She's
be.
on Twitter. You should make sure you're following her. She's pretty spectacular. I love her a lot. She's been good people for a long time.
She's got
Uncle-
canned goods for sure.
Oh,
bet she
she's
has,
super. Yeah.
bet she has high-end dilly beans.
Uncle David said, I'm not sure how having a drag queen person who pushes the appearance and dress integrated into a military unit would not cause problems.
What aspect of military life is that selling you? I
Right.
don't understand.
It's selling
I
Jay
guess-
Ping. Jay Ping sitting back in his throne going, oh shit. It's
No,
our
have you
time.
guys seen that meme where Kim Jong-un, Xi Jinping, and Vladimir Putin are all calling one another, hey, did you see that? Hey, did you see this? It's like a meme where they're like making fun of the United
Oh my
States. I
God.
feel like every day I see something where that meme is reality.
Correct.
Joey says all Marines go to combat training. If shit pops off, you're not keeping that office job.
No.
Aaron said, I think this was just pandering to gays. Nothing any more deep than that. You could be right, Aaron. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just not sure, even as a gay individual, I'm not, but if I were, I'm not sure how that video compelled me to go join the military, even if it was pandering.
Yeah.
Patriot Girl Prepper says we had more than one MOS. First was to kill. Joey said Top Gun Maverick was a better recruitment video,
Yeah.
to be honest.
For
God,
sure.
I'm not gonna lie. I've watched that movie more times than I care to admit. And Tom Cruise, for his age, still has every single ounce of chutzpah, regardless of the fact that he believes in Scientology. Like, I don't even care. I
The
just
stuff
really
he
love the dude.
does
Yeah,
is
man.
insane.
Like, imagine being an actor and being like, well, I got a shit ton of money. Teach me how to fly fighter jets so I can do my own stunts. Like, what?
Yeah.
Fucking
That's
crazy.
nuts.
So crazy.
I saw a photo of him sitting on top of some radio tower or something. It gave me vertigo.
Aaron said America should stop being the world police. You will hear zero argument from me
Yep.
on that point,
It's way too
Aaron.
expensive.
Aaron said earning your way just by being born, is that earning? It's been too long, Aaron. I apologize. I have lost track of what that is in reference to. The
think he's
military is
talking about-
too corporate. It has a bloated $10 billion budget and controlled by greedy contractors. We need to fix that. Fucking men.
Yeah,
Nope,
that'll
too
mess
divided.
things up.
Patriot Girl Prepper says she does not believe that we would be able to unite around a cause. Uncle David said, it would be hard for me to tell my son he should go. He might go on his own, but I doubt it. And I think that that's the problem, right? You have a lot of GWAT that are like, you know, I wouldn't let my son join the military. You fucking lied about weapons of mass destruction. You sent us over
Yep.
here. I'm not going to let you do that to my kid. You know, you have the people, the hard hitters that were over there and did that. They're not going back over there.
No.
Black Pill, there's no fixing this. They want one world order. We're going to have to fight, break the system, and rebuild.
Mad
Aaron
Max
said-
style.
Do you think Biden is the only liar? Does Trump hold any blame? Congress, Dems, reps? Aaron, I think maybe this may be your first time listening to us, but we think the entire system is well, at least I do. I don't want to speak for my co-host. I believe in the uniparty that if you are in a federal governmental position of power, you are 100% to blame. Whether you are Trump, Biden, I don't give a shit who you are from a political perspective. You do not have the citizens' best interest in mind. You are nothing but a greedy fucking pig, and you just care about how much money you're going to make before you are no longer reelected.
and
Um,
what friends you can make to keep you in power.
yep.
That's
And
all
what
it's about.
what kind of fucking hit show you can fucking get on the camera for your next election video? It's fucking ridiculous. Both parties. There's some good people on both sides of the aisle. I know that
Yeah.
because I'm not an idiot, but I do tend to lean. I could have been in the middle 5 years ago. I keep finding myself more on the right, but I'm not moving.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My beliefs aren't changing. I didn't wake up all of a sudden and be like, oh, now I'm more conservative. I didn't change.
Yeah.
I'm still a constitutionalist, 100%. I believe in the idea of America.
Same.
Sorry.
No. Don't say sorry. The other thing too, I think, Aaron, when I say we and I'm referring to Republicans or something like that, I do that a lot because I used to be one. And I guess I still sometimes will catch myself identifying with that political party only because I used to be a conservative Republican. I was raised, my dad, and I'll just share this with you guys real fast. My dad had this quote, and he said, when you live with your parents, you're a Democrat. When you graduate and get your first paycheck, you become a Republican. And about 20 years after getting those paychecks, you realize that you're just living in someone else's world.
Yep.
And that could not have been more true. I'm now 39 years old. I've gotten my 20 years of paychecks, and I realize I'm just living in someone else's world.
Yes,
So,
we absolutely need term limits, 100%.
yeah.
We also need just a 10% tax. Oh, fucking tax.
There's a
Yeah.
club and we're not in it, Heather.
Yeah, there's
Yep.
a club and we're not in it.
For sure. So idealistically, like if we're talking about specific issues, there's a couple issues that I'll never cave on. Abortion is one of them. I am pro-life 100%. I have absolutely zero in any way, shape, or form, even a thought or a whisper of wavering on that. And what I mean by abortion, anybody who throws rape and incest in my face, I can go there, but you don't want to go there with me. Because I have an answer for that too. But I don't play that. And that leads me into there are other things that from a position perspective, I identify with the Republican Party because I know that's a place that they're never going to cave. But well, I say never. They're unlikely to cave. But in an overall perspective, I'm just politically homeless. I have no home. I don't belong to anyone anymore. So really quick, that brings me to another part of the discussion that I wanted to have with you guys. There was a successful fetal brain surgery last week where they were able
Whoa.
to go into the placenta, do brain surgery on the baby, and exit, and the baby survived. And I think it was only like 18 weeks old.
Wow.
So, what I thought was really cool about that, well, I mean, just the fucking surgery itself, right? But
Yeah.
another thing that I thought was really awesome is that really starts to dig into and take away from that notion of it's not a life. It's not a baby. It's just a fetus. It's just a
Mhm.
clump of cells. Like when we're talking about stuff, so like I see that as a huge win for a community of people that like to talk about being pro-life. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah, it can't be both, right?
Yeah.
Are you saving the life of a clump of cells?
Right.
Or is that a human?
Yeah, and I mean it was successful. So now we have a situation where, and so just to give some background real quick on this particular surgery. So in the development of the brain, just like think about it like a highway, you'll have like major arteries and then capillary arteries that form throughout the brain. And so the best analogy that I can think of is like a plant. You put a plant by a window, the leaves start gravitating and naturally growing towards the window so that they get more light, right? So this condition, the capillaries start growing and gravitating towards that main artery line. And what it does is it causes the amount of blood that rushes to the baby's heart and lungs. It overworks both of those organs because of the way that these veins are forming. So they went in and resected and restructured the capillaries in this baby's brain
Wow.
and then put it back together. So the real test, like the surgery itself is obviously a massive feat in science. But the true test is actually going to also come at that, like when the baby is born, because that's when the body has to start acting on its own, the heart, the lungs, you don't have the umbilical cord anymore. So will the surgery be considered a success if the baby's heart and lungs are not overpowered once it's born? So that's going to be really cool to follow and watch and see.
Yeah. That's wild.
Aaron said, I wish there were a more central abortion position. I think everyone is kind of extreme. I am extreme about it. If defending life is extreme, then I'm extreme, and I have no problem with that.
Never gonna be. I believe it's never gonna be okay to slaughter your young, any mammals.
Right.
I don't think that's really who we are as a species. Is to just
No
slaughter
other
our young.
species does it. No other
So-
species goes out and kills its offspring on purpose.
75 million.
Lions and bears do, but that's just to make more of them. They just want to kill those and make their own. So it's not about
that's the male. This is different.
Yeah.
This is they're fucking with mother's instincts here, and they're taking it's disturbing. And the effects that it's having is that people don't care that much about life and other people, and sometimes that shows up in mass murders. But on an everyday basis, it shows up in just like rudeness and not really caring if to say hi, or just the separation and I believe that's one of the places where it starts. We should cherish that mother who's pregnant, right? And that should be a deal. Like everybody comes over, touches the belly, like the baby's in there. Like that's where you start to learn how significant life is in the people next to you when you're little. Because again, you're feral when you're born. You're not civilized. And if we don't teach that life is very delicate, it's a miracle, however you want to word that, but that there's real connection, then we're just murdering somebody is nothing. Once you kill your first human, the second's not that bad, especially if you haven't been taught because you're feral.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron,
It's also why we can't debate anymore, because we're just automatically fighting.
Right. Aaron is putting examples up here. Hamsters eat their babies if they have too much. It's seen in animals. Birds push babies out of the nest if they can't support the family. Those are all after
Get a
they
job.
are born. Those are conditions after birth. None of these animals rip their young out of their stomachs beforehand.
And we're a civilized society. We should be the ones that never do that. Like that shouldn't be a thing. We shouldn't be wanting to kill our young. And we should, especially, and I do understand that there's going to be circumstances, but there hasn't been over 75 million of those circumstances since Roe v. Wade. That's ridiculous. We've turned this is just a birth control option.
Mm-hmm.
That's not a thing. This is causing mental health. Okay. This is bad. This goes against every motherly instinct in a female. And I just don't think we should be playing with nature like that. There's consequences when you have sex.
So I'm going to tell you guys a story, and I'm not going to say a name or anything like that. Real quick, Joey said, and we should form communities to support families and new babies.
Absolutely.
I'm very blessed to have a small parish I attend where we can do this. That's so awesome, Joey.
Yeah.
Community.
Again, see, I told you he's the most wholesome fucking human being on the planet. So a individual that I know personally has used Plan B and abortions as birth control for years, 20 plus years. That's been the go-to way to fix the fuck ups that have occurred over the course of time. About 2.5 years ago, this individual tried to get pregnant with their significant other. The amount of damage that has taken place inside of her uterus and cervix is so severe that she's now unable to conceive. She cannot have children. And I think that's another thing that no one talks about. They don't want anyone to know that they've used it so much that they've destroyed their opportunity to procreate and bring life into this world.
Yeah.
'Cause really, I believe that's our main reason for being here. There'd be no other reason to have sex. It's ridiculous. That's the point. But that's also an old man talking and whatever. I know the times have changed. I just think the whole celebration
Yeah.
and just extreme
That's
excitement to be able to slaughter your young is disgusting as a society and as a citizenry.
Aaron said
It's
it
not
seems like
somewhere
the
we
school...
should be.
Yeah, no, you're right, Chris. It said seems like the school failed this person in terms of understanding sexual health and family planning. They didn't. It's just available. It's not that she doesn't understand what sexual health and family planning are. She wasn't told the consequences. And that's
Birth control
on...
probably made her gain weight, so she was like, "I'll just do it this way."
Yikes.
But I don't like the way a condom feels.
Yep. And so it was, oh, well, this is easier too, right? I don't have to remember a pill every day. I don't have to, the person that I'm having sex with doesn't have to wear a condom. It's okay. I'll just have an abortion. No big deal.
Look, it became like going to McDonald's and getting a Happy Meal, and we can't have that. So there does need to be some kind of a medium there, because we're probably on the extreme side of this. I'm sure, and I'll never not be on the extreme side. I'm always going to advocate for life and how precious that is. And I think that if we treated each other a lot more kindly from the time of conception, that it may look a little different. It's really, it wouldn't be so easy to pull that trigger, but there's a lot. I'm guessing there's a lot of a mound of things that have led us to where we're at today, and probably 90% of them all started with a good intention. Doesn't fucking matter. Here we are.
Right.
Throw it all out the fucking window. Guns aren't going anywhere. So now we have to look at different options.
Yeah.
And those options, I would say that we should pay influencers to get married and stay married. If that's what we're going to do, then let's get influencers that have families, and let's just influence the fuck out of the nuclear family.
You're not cool anymore. After you get married, you're no longer
service
cool.
work. Let's just do that.
None of that shit's getting any likes on Instagram.
Actually, there is a little girl who is like, there's a whole like movement.
I'm talking about our fucking White House is paying for influencers.
Yeah.
That's our fucking tax dollars.
That's a problem.
Use that for the nuclear family.
Well, I want to be fair. I want to make sure that we're stating at least factual information when it comes to that. It's coming from the DNC, not from the White House. So it's not taxpayer dollars that are paying for the influencers.
Yeah, you're never going to convince me that our labor isn't stolen and thrown into a fucking washing machine and getting split off to both R and DNC, both the DCs.
Yes, I will agree with.
All right?
I agree that that's happening.
This is what I want to see. I want to see fucking truth, and I want to see fucking debate. And if nice. And I want to see
prom finger out, or your dad finger right now. Did that just come out?
Yeah.
I want to see that old bag of fucking oatmeal out on that fucking debate stage without a teleprompter, and I want this to be a minimum of 3 hours on primetime TV live. We deserve that as a citizen.
With your sleeves up. I want to make sure you don't have an IV in of
Yeah.
these
Yeah,
drugs they use
they
to keep
steal-
you awake.
They steal a lot of fucking money from us.
Yep.
Get up on that fucking stage and tell me what the fuck you stand for. Look us in the eye and tell us what you stand for.
Yep.
On both
We
sides.
deserve that. Both
Yep.
sides, everybody.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Taking half my paycheck, you owe me that much.
Yeah.
Fuck
Speaking
yeah.
of,
Fuck yes. And if you can't, bow the fuck out.
yeah, you can't
You
do the
made your
job.
money, son. He's been in office longer than I've been alive.
You're not going to get your truths, and a lie in. With
I'm
your,
trying
Speaking of
really
mom
hard.
fingers.
I'm gonna fly through these comments real quick and then we'll do 2 truths and a lie. Aaron said this might be a personal responsibility thing for me. I agree, Aaron, and a lot of people are
Mhm.
not willing to take personal responsibility for their actions, like spreading their fucking legs and acting like
How do you
whores.
incentivize personal responsibility?
Warcraft.
Yeah, World of Warcraft is a real thing around here, and not here, like as in like me. I just observe the World of Warcraft, and it's not good.
It's ever evolving.
Joey said, gotta he just perfectly be, I think, okay, gotta be just perfectly blunt here. If you're not prepared or able to accept the consequences, you're not prepared or able to engage in the behavior, period.
But it's so
End of
fun.
Man, when I was a kid,
Having irresponsible sex at 22 is so fun.
when I was a kid, like you had to like these kids don't know how good they have it.
No.
Yeah.
These young
Joey
boys.
said rights are
we had to wait.
intrinsically linked to responsibility, assuming their right to abortion. There isn't, but go with this for a second. Is the correlated responsibility.
Wait, say that one more time.
Rights are intrinsically linked to responsibility.
Yep.
Assuming there is a right to abortion. There isn't, but go with this for a second. What is the correlated responsibility?
Yeah, responsible sex.
Yeah. Aaron said, I'll be quiet. I want to hear the 2 truths. So Aaron, real quick, have you watched us before? I just want to ask that real quick before I do this, because you've been really engaged in the conversation. I just don't remember you ever having been in the show before. Yeah, it's been really good to have you in here. I mean, a lot of you guys are regulars, but Aaron is, I think, new. So we appreciate you joining us this evening. Okay. So 2 truths and a lie for people who may be listening on other platforms. And then those of you who are in here. Oh, he said, I was here last week. You forgot me. Just kidding. I was like, no, you weren't.
No, there was
another person here last week, right? Or was that Aaron?
Yeah. Were
Maybe.
you the one?
Was he the one arguing with us last week?
No, he was just talking about transitioning. Was that Aaron?
No.
I thought that was
somebody else.
Person.
So it was
him. It was me. Oh my God, I'm so sorry, Aaron.
Okay,
really?
I'll never forget you because I'm so sorry, Aaron.
Sorry. We're sponsored by a legal marijuana company.
Yeah, that's a true story. We are, because we have Patriots Sports Radio and they give us a lot of weed.
I talked about Blair White. Yes,
no,
I remember you.
Yeah.
You were the one that was.
I totally remembered you.
Now we're here.
I think we talked about.
I wasn't here.
On our sports podcast.
Okay. So I got 2 truths and a lie. If you've never played before, don't cheat. Mom finger out. I'm going to give you guys your 2 truths and a lie. And Eric, by default, you missed last week, but Chris didn't get it right anyway, so it's okay.
Oh, perfect.
God damn it, Joey. Fucking shit.
Okay. First story. A new study by a team of researchers from top universities has found that consuming chocolate on a daily basis can lead to weight loss and improved cardiovascular health.
Oh, I hope that one's real.
The study, which was conducted over the course of several years and involved thousands of participants, found that people who ate a small amount of chocolate every day experienced significant improvements in their body mass index and other key health indicators.
Like
That's
mood
story
and
1.
happiness.
Story number 2. Spanish Navy ship sent to draw up maps loses its way. A Spanish Navy ship tasked with updating nautical charts to make navigation safer got stranded on Thursday near the island of Ibiza in the Mediterranean. The
Ibiza.
vessel, Malaspina, was exploring an area of shallows to the west of the island and got stuck on one of them. Story number 2. Story number 3. Belgian town organizes seagull imitation championship.
Ooh.
The Belgian coastal town of De Panne organized on Sunday the 3rd European Seagull Screeching Championship, where a jury crowned the best imitation of the bird's distinctive shriek. Around 50 participants took part in the contest, including first-timers and returning participants. Each was judged by a professional jury, which awarded 15 points for how well they imitated the seagull's sound and 5 points for their behavior. Which story is the lie?
I think it's the first
It's
one because
one.
it's too good to be true.
It's 1 or 2, but can you say 2 again?
2 is the Spanish Navy ship that was sent to draw up maps lost its way.
Off the coast of Ibiza.
2.
I think it's 1.
Everybody in the chat, get your answers
Because-
in.
Chocolate can't make me lose weight. No way.
MB, I don't know if you're still in here. You got to get yours in.
If it is, I'm
Lexi
gonna
got
be-
hers in.
I know people call all kinds of weird animals. There's all kinds of weird animal calling competitions. So seagull is very believable to me. 2 seems to be the collective thought. Well, then maybe the chocolate thing is real.
Stay on your board. Stay
I've
on your board.
heard-
Don't fall off, Eric. You're
I've
on there.
heard
Oh,
dark
own that
chocolate
sumbitch.
is good for you. People say dark chocolate is healthy. It's gross. I don't understand.
So 2 is pretty much the consensus. Jake, Uncle David,
Yep.
Eric, you guys say number 1. Everyone else
Chris
says
said
2.
number 2. Yeah,
Chris said 2,
I
correct?
said number 1. Boy, it would be really nice if I was the person who was right and everyone was wrong.
The answer is number 1 is the fake story
Ah!
this week.
You guys are idiots. If it's too good to be true, it usually is. That's what my mama said.
Who the fuck sends a ship to draw a map in 2023?
It's got to be like the C version
Hey,
of the
we're
Google car.
we grounded on this island. Like, get a fucking laptop, bro. You ever heard of Google Earth?
What about drones?
It's been done. Jesus.
They got like a boat version of the Google Maps car, just plotting a grid out there,
Couple dudes on some seahorse,
just
some
burning
fucking
fossil
sawhorses
fuels.
and a camera. Like, can you get the tree, Jed? Can
Can
you
I
get the tree over there?
Can I get a street view of the open ocean?
Get the fuck out of
Is that
here.
what this ship is doing?
Oh man.
Who the fuck has a ship out there on? Okay, never mind. Okay, we can.
Jake
move
says, so wait, I was right.
Lexi's
You're going to have to
laughing at
tell
me.
exit.
on.
Uncle David said, I totally believe a ship could run aground. Like what? A Thomas guide or something? Like fucking map. What was the Garmin?
Garmin.
Garmin for ships.
The Tom.
Yep.
Yeah.
Garmin. Tom had a short run. Yeah.
Oh shit, that's funny. Okay, thank you guys, everyone, so much for joining us this evening. I have very much enjoyed having you guys in here. Aaron, you have been a wonderful welcome addition to our regulars. I hope to see you back next week. And so that's it tonight. You guys have any closing thoughts that you want to get out there before we end the show?
Live free or die.
Oh, that's a good one.
Go do something for somebody else tomorrow.
That's a really good one too. I have nothing good. Cook food, don't order DoorDash.
Yeah.
All right. You guys take care. Have a wonderful night.